What would you say is the biggest resistance today against using openEHR?
I would say that the biggest resistance is the fact that we have already vendors who haven't implemented this, who are making their products using a more traditional way of implementing databases, etc. So that whilst more and more of our vendors are using openEHR, such as DIPS and Pasientski in Norway, there are still some that don't. And some people think that we shouldn't make models that are made towards one specific way of implementing systems.
What is National IKT where you work? What is that?
National IKT is an organization that's owned by the 4 hospital regions in Norway, and we're a strategic unit that we're working to get the 4 regions to do ICT together instead of going their 4 separate ways.
It's quite forward to have a national IKT in Norway. How come we aren't there in Sweden, you think?
Well, I can't really answer why you're not there in Sweden. In Norway, the organization has a long history back to the early 2000s, when the hospitals first were made into trusts instead of owned directly by the counties. It was recognized that we needed some kind of arena to collaborate with ICT instead of instead of going our separate ways.
But was it the interest of open data that were driven to start National IKT, or what was the main reason from the beginning?
I don't think open data was part of the original plan. It was we've had several projects and feasibility studies done that have sort of pointed in that direction, and I mentioned some of them in my talk. But I think the open data concept was something that came along the way as one way of solving the issues that we have.
What is the biggest benefit for the patient, would you say, with the open data?
I think for the patient the biggest benefit is the possibility of getting their data to actually outlast the systems in which the data was originally collected. Of course, as a health service, we're required to keep the patient data throughout their lifetimes, from birth to death, and we know that that's a longer time span than any system will outlive. So if data is collected in a way that's independent of each vendor system, then we have a much larger chance of making that data last for the entire lifespan of the patient.
Why is that important?
Well, it's important because each patient has their own unique health history, and if we don't know what happened to a patient 20 or 40 years ago, we might not be able to make the right treatment decisions today. So that's I think the most important thing there. Yeah.
Thank you a lot. Thank you.